Robbie Williams Rewind.
Welcome to Robbie Williams Rewind. We are the champions. I'm Matt.
And I'm Lucy.
And along with help from special guest fans, we take you on an in-depth rewind through the solo career of multi-award-winning singer, songwriter and entertainer Robbie Williams.
Today we're celebrating our second birthday. I can't believe it.
Hooray. Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Been going for 2 years.
Hard to believe.
I think we've done about, 50 plus episodes nearly, is it? Or
thereabouts.
Something? Yeah, very exciting. We've accomplished so much. We thought we'd bring you a best of episode, rewinding back to some of our very favourite bits of the podcast. So for some of you who are newer listeners who maybe found us since our interview with Robbie, it may inspire you to go back and listen to some of our older episodes that you may not have heard yet.
Yeah, take a look and listen. So it's a Robbie Williams rewind.
Yeah.
So thanks to everyone as well for your lovely messages about our last episodes. Our interview with Chris Briggs in particular, we enjoyed chatting with him a lot. It was a fun afternoon. We talked to him for many hours.
Yeah.
many hours longer than the actual podcast, in fact. But it was an incredible discussion. And if you haven't listened to it, it really is. It's one of our most interesting interviews. It's got so many stories from the start of Rob's solo career, from the only person who's actually worked with him consistently all the way through all of his albums.
Yeah.
More of a right-hand man than I think we even knew.
Yeah, we're really privileged to be able to interview him.
Yeah, and just a lovely man, very pragmatic, just lovely stories, just a lovely insight into the world of Chris and Rob.
Yeah.
Throughout the years.
So we've had some lovely messages from listeners, and we really do love hearing from you. Thanks to people who've left reviews on Apple as well, like Catherine 24601 and D Sharp 81 in the UK, Smallison 77 in Italy, Lisi Felix in Germany, Well 084 in Austria. And with all the DMs we've received as well, it makes it worthwhile knowing that actually people are listening and enjoying it.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of people email us as well. It's really nice to hear from you, and thank you for the feedback. And a few people come up to us when we've been out and about and said, they love the show. So thank you. It makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So before we get on to the best bits, we've got some exciting news, haven't we, Matt?
Very exciting, Lucy. I can't remember how. Oh yeah, I think was it a text you sent to me or an email?
Text.
I think I might have been at work, actually in the office, a rare visit to the office, and so I got the news from Lucy that we have been nominated for the Independent Podcast Awards in the music category.
Yeah.
So that's an organisation that recognises independent podcasts, so not commercial, not the big, huge podcasts, but the ones that have been set up independently by people like us.
Yeah.
And we're very happy to be even nominated to be in the music category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 7 other music podcasts in our category. 2 of them are pretty big, so we'll see. One of them, I have to say, they have a host from BBC Radio 5. So I'm not sure how that is independent, but anyway.
Well, I guess he is doing it independently. He's not sponsored.
But it's supposed to be podcasts that don't have celebrity hosts. I would say he's a celebrity myself. But anyway, that's being a bit picky.
You're verging on being a celebrity now.
Oh, shush.
No, but you're right. Let's see how it goes. We're just pleased to be nominated.
Yeah.
It's nice to be recognised. And we're going to go up to an event up in London. When is it? The
30th of October.
Yeah. So once we know, we'll let you know. But if we don't win, we'll be happy to just go along and meet a load of other podcasters and have a night out and have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Before we get to the best bits, let's have a news recap and we'll discuss the end of the European leg of the 25 tour.
Yeah. First of all, the Netflix trailer dropped on
Finally.
And we do have a date of the 8th of November, according to the Spanish trailer, which I think accidentally put the date on it because none of the other trailers around the world had the date on it. So thank you, whoever made that error.
Yeah. It soon gets found out by the fans, and the news soon disseminates across social media and people find out. So, yeah 8th of November, that's going to be out. 4
episodes. Can't wait. We'll probably do another podcast special about
we will.
Netflix once we've watched it.
Yeah. You can imagine a lot of people buying Netflix just to watch it, right? Who haven't got it.
Or going round a friend's house.
Going round friends' houses.
Yeah.
Netflix watch party, yeah.
Unexpectedly, we also got a new song from Rob with a band called Softplay, who used to be called The Slaves. And he's on their new song called Punk's Dead. So our friend Katie, who was on our Escapology episode, sent me a message saying she'd just been listening to Radio 1 and she'd heard the name Robbie Williams and she had to rewind it.
Radio 1?
Yeah. She was like, why are they talking about Robbie on Radio 1? She rewound it and basically he was a guest on this song and they were interviewing the band, talking about how it happened that he came to be on it. And basically Rob just messaged them a few months ago saying, I want to make music like you. So they invited him to sing on their new song. And personally, I'd say that his bit is the best bit of the song.
It's a bit of a strange song, isn't it? Overall.
But if you haven't heard that, check out Softplay Punk's Dead and have a listen to him. So yeah, that was one way of getting onto the Radio 1 playlist.
Yeah. And yeah, recently on Rob's Instagram, on his socials, we saw him singing a Spurs and Postecoglou ball chant, which I'm not a football fan, but I know my brother is a big Tottenham Hotspur fan, and he's the manager of Tottenham Hotspur, and there is a bit of a chant apparently that they sing, and Rob sung that on Insta. Big Ange. Created a bit of controversy, didn't it?
Yeah,
some of the Port Vale fans weren't too happy.
No, especially seeing Spurs send Rob a Spurs football kit for him and Ida and the kids.
The whole family had a Spurs top. Yeah,
and he was really happy about it. And
he put that on Insta as well. Yeah.
Port Vale were like, hang on a minute. Yeah. He's also just played the Singapore Grand Prix.
Yeah.
That's just happened. And coming up in a couple of weeks, he's going to be playing in the United Arab Emirates. That's another, I think that's, and then that's the last gig until Rob goes to Australia.
And we were talking about socials and Instagram a moment ago, but Rob's Instagram has absolutely exploded, hasn't it? With content.
Crap content.
We've gone from having like almost nothing to like daily or more than daily drops of crap content. And the odd bit of not crap content, but yeah, Rob's got this little campaign going, #crap content. And I'm sure many of you have seen it. It's funny. There's been some funny bits on there, hasn't there? What's been one of your favourites, Lucy? Do you remember?
Well, particularly on the day we're recording this, we realised that when Rob shared on his Instagram stories pictures of things that his kids had drawn or painted or built, such as a bridge or a building or Vincent van Gogh's sunflowers, and he put things like my son Charlie painted this, I'm so proud of him, that kind of thing. We kind of thought, oh yeah, that's funny. But then our friend pointed out that actually 3 days ago, Kim Kardashian had posted this ridiculous painting that was clearly by an adult, saying that my 10-year-old has done this painting. I'm so proud of them. And so Rob was clearly taking the piss out of Kim Kardashian. And that made me chuckle.
It's good to see him though, having a bit of a laugh, isn't it? And it's good to see some more content. I think the fans like it. Well, I know the fans like it. They like to just know that he's there and he's around, and he's obviously between gigs, between the tour dates, he's having time with his family. But he's making a bit of time to connect.
Yeah.
And and he's obviously in between also talking a little bit about his mental state and kind of how he is through his Rob art. Mm-hmm. That he's doing as well. A few of those still coming out.
Mm-hmm. And our friend Sarah Hoyland, who is on I've Been Expecting You episodes, she went to see Jimmy Carr a couple of weeks ago. live, and when she was there, she said, well, she messaged us afterwards and said, I swear to God, there was a song playing at the beginning and at the end of the show, and like a new song about Jimmy and the show. I can't really remember the lyrics. She didn't remember the lyrics. And she swears it was sung by Rob. She's like, I should know his voice by now. I swear he's singing it. So if anyone goes to see Jimmy Carr over the next few weeks, take special note and listen. Maybe record a little bit.
We don't advocate doing that.
No. So that we can find out if Rob has written and sung a song for Jimmy Carr's show, because they are buddies, so it's a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
So we tried to look for tickets, but they were all sold out. So maybe someone out there is going and would be able to tell us what they think.
Yeah, let us know. Oh, there's another thing that's happened recently, just thinking about Rob Art.
Yeah.
Rob's work with Ed Godrich.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah, he's released a whole set of new paintings.
Yeah, 10 out of 15 from
in colour, I believe.
Colour ones, yeah.
Smaller than the original ones.
Yeah.
But I was very pleased that you let me know that one of them was actually called Matt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks, Rob, for featuring me in I'm sure it was based on me. Didn't get to buy it, unfortunately. I think they were £1,200 each, which...
and they sold out in about 2 minutes.
Not as expensive as the other ones, but I did point out to Lucy that probably by the square centimetre, it's probably the same because they were smaller.
Yeah.
And then there was a set of postcards as well, which you could buy.
Yeah.
Did you buy a set of postcards?
Yeah, I've ordered some postcards.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Good. So we got a set of those.
Yeah, I think the names of all the paintings were after boy band members. So we had names like Ronan, Nikki, AJ, Luke.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm thinking, because there was Matt and Luke, is that Bros, or is there another boy band that's got a Matt in it?
No, it's me.
Yeah, it must be you.
Yeah, that's simple.
Well, just because all the other names, there was only one name from each boy band. Like there was Lance from NSYNC.
It's me and my son Luke.
Yeah, it must be you and our son.
Yes.
And there was another thing that happened this week, which I'm hoping Matt can explain a bit more about, because it's kind of beyond me.
Oh, this metaverse thing, yes.
Yeah.
So Robbie Williams is joining the metaverse. Now, I'm sure some of our listeners will know what that means, but and I'll give my perspective on it in a minute. But there was a news article from Variety magazine which said British pop singer and former Take That member Robbie Williams is set to make his metaverse debut. Williams' first foray into the Web3 space is a partnership with AI-powered lifestyle metaverse platform Lifecycle, a virtual city with elements of art, film, gaming, music, fashion, sport, property and retail. A personal performance of Robbie Williams' 25-year anniversary live show designed as a 3D metaverse experience will take place in the virtual city. Interesting. So Lifecycle, which is the platform, is due to launch in the fourth quarter of 2023, so soon. What else does it say? Yeah. So, quote from Robbie. Staying connected with my fans has always been important to me. I'm fascinated by the Web3 space. I'm not sure he really knows what that means. Well, maybe he does. He does like tech. It's full of creativity and mind-blowing potential. It's also a big new market for music discovery. As an artist, I'm always looking for ways to push forward, so this is the perfect step in that journey. The talented development team at Lifecycle have produced some incredible work, and I'm excited to see it all brought to life in full 3D glory. So really clear, right? 100% clear what's going to happen.
So we posted about that and everyone was like, what does that mean? Can you translate that into English, please?
Well, I've done a little bit of work around this area. I'm not a metaverse expert, but I do work for a software company, a large software company, and we have experimented with metaverse platforms. So we've done a little bit of exploration in some of the different platforms that are out there. Not this one, but it's difficult to know exactly how they're going to do it. But there are different types of platforms. So there are the platforms like Oculus, or the equipment like Oculus, where you've got to wear a headset, and you're immersed into that immersive world, and then everywhere you turn, obviously the world is there, and you can meet other people. It could be like that, or there may be a way of accessing it without having that equipment. So I've tried both. So it'll be interesting to see how it's done. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. I've used some business metaverse worlds where you don't need the VR headset, and you just kind of go around on your screen and meet other people, and then you see other people. But it looks as though here, from what I've seen, they're going to actually digitize and do a 3D sort of avatar of Rob, and then that 3D avatar will be performing. So, I don't know whether it will actually be Rob performing live or whether it will be the avatar performing his song. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But apparently it's the future,
We'll see. Not sure myself.
I did one of these things that I tested. I did go into the metaverse platform that we were using and went into this nightclub style environment and saw Jazzy Jeff playing a DJ set. So he was there as like this cartoon icon, and then in the background you could see a video of him actually spinning the decks and stuff. But it was interesting. It was different. You meet people in the space, you can talk to them. So yeah, we'll experiment with it when it comes out, and we'll do a review. However I've got to get on there and find out how to do it, I will, and we'll do a little review of the experience.
Okay.
But I'm sure most of the fans will work out a way of getting on there or seeing it. So yeah, that's that.
But there were some pictures in one article of a Robbie avatar, and I tell you what, it just looked nothing like him. And he had blue eyes, and
one of them looked nothing like him at all.
Yeah.
Like completely different hairstyle. And then a couple of them did look a bit like him. So I don't know why the one was posted that didn't really look a lot like him, or whether they were experimenting or playing with something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I'm not convinced. We'll see.
Caused a bit of concern amongst the fans.
Yeah.
It did. A bit of concern.
Yeah. Everyone wants to see Rob in real life, not in digital format.
Yeah. I mean, we chatted to him about technology, didn't we, on our interview? I mean, well, maybe afterwards, but he is interested in all of this. I don't know whether there's any longevity in it. That's the only thing. Whether there's a future in it, or whether it's just,
A flash in the pan.
Yeah, just a mutual kind of interest, and obviously publicity and all that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
It will.
So I think that's the news roundup.
Yeah. And then we thought we'd do a recap of the 25 tour, because obviously for us it's now finished in Europe. So we'll just do a little recap of a bit of that, because obviously we've been to Sandringham since we last spoke to you all.
So the 25 tour is Rob's biggest ever world tour in terms of dates played. He'll have performed 85 concerts in 32 countries on 4 continents by the end of 2023. He still has 14 dates left, 2 in Asia, 11 in Australasia, and 2 in Europe, with the final shows in Austria.
Yeah, and that's in December at the ski thing that he's doing.
Ah, yes, yeah.
And obviously the set list has varied a lot throughout the tour, or a little bit, depending how you look at it. Obviously, he removed Lost after 2 nights. He added and then quickly removed Tripping. He's removed and added and removed and added and removed and added Supreme. He's removed All Before I Die. He's replaced The Flood with Back for Good, or Everything Changes for Could It Be Magic. I'm sure there's more that I've forgotten.
I think there probably is more.
Yeah.
Maybe some we don't even know about that went in and went out that we weren't at.
Yeah. But it's quite nice to have some changes. He has been doing the tour for, 70 dates-ish. So it's nice that when you go, you might get a slight variation.
Yeah.
And especially at Sandringham, we had a big variation in the form of Greatest Day with Mark.
Yeah.
That was very exciting. I was very, very happy that day.
You were extremely happy.
Yeah, it all went well.
It did. They had such connection on the stage. And in fact, I think Rob had to hold it together at one point because he was so excited and so emotional and so happy and so just overcome with emotion. You could see him just, trying to keep it together as he was going through the performance.
Yeah.
Which was nice to see, though.
It was. Yeah, it was a good day. It was a shame it rained a lot. It rained more on the Sunday, which we weren't at, but it did rain on the Saturday as well when we were there. But I didn't put a dampener on things. We just, put your raincoats on and get on with it.
Yeah, and then count how many times you've been bitten, by the bugs. We had a lot of bites.
Yeah, especially our friend Zoe.
Sandringham, just for those of you that didn't go, okay, there is a royal estate, is it a castle or a house there?
A house, I think.
It's a huge area, but it is in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by forest. So it's absolutely beautiful, but there are bugs galore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lovely weekend. We camped just down the road, and it worked out very well.
Yeah.
And saw a lot of people who we knew there as well, which was lovely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and just say hello to Holly as well, that tapped us on the shoulder when we were inside the gig. She was about 2 or 3 rows behind us and said, "Hi, I listened to your show. Really nice to meet you."
Holly from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hi, Holly.
So hi, Holly. Yeah, it was great to see you and have a quick chat.
Yeah. It wasn't just Holly, it's just that she sprung to mind.
Many other people did come and see us as well.
Yeah, it was a good weekend and we enjoyed it very much. It's sad that our 25 tour is over. But I know that everyone in Australia is desperate for it to get down there. Another highlight that came from Sandringham was that the podcast kind of appeared on Lorraine on ITV as well as This Morning.
Yeah, both huge shows in the UK, huge morning shows, aren't they?
Yeah.
But, I would say very, very big shows. And so, we were contacted and to ask if they could use one of our videos of Mark and Robbie, and a couple of photos, when Mark and Robbie did their bit on stage. Because
they said that ours was the best video they'd found.
I guess it helped that I was recording in 4K on my iPhone at the front. So, we had a pretty good view.
Yeah. So they gave us a little credit on the telly, just said Robbie Williams Rewind podcast.
That was nice.
That was fun. But yeah, that was a bit of a shock to me because straight after Robbie, I drove off with our friend Kelly to see Ollie Murs. So we kind of went our separate ways after the gig.
Left me.
Weird.
I had to go back to the tent on my own. Lucy just jetted off to another gig.
Yeah. So I went off to stay at Kelly's and then we got up early and queued to see Ollie and then got home late again. So I must have had about 4 hours sleep over 2 nights. And yeah, on my train on the way home on Monday morning, text from Matt saying we're going to be on ITV.
Yeah. So fun. Thanks to ITV for showcasing us on there. We appreciate that. And it was good to see that Rob had hit the news. It was good, a nice positive news story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With Mark.
Yeah.
Rob and Mark together. Yeah.
Even though lots of them got it wrong, saying that they hadn't been on stage together since Progress, which is not true.
Yeah, they kind of tweaked or got the facts a little bit wrong there, didn't they?
So I think that's it for the news roundup.
Yeah.
We can go into some of our best bits.
So we're going to rewind Robbie Williams Rewind.
Yeah.
I like saying that.
You do. Starting with one of our favourite interviews, because especially as it was one of our first kind of celebrity interviews, that was with Steve Power, Robbie's producer from the first 5 albums.
Yeah. And I'd just like to say before we do listen to Steve that every episode we've made is our favourite.
Yeah.
And every guest that we've had on the show has been incredible. So we couldn't be here for, 24 hours on this episode. So we just picked a few little clips just to give you a bit of a taster. But yeah, we really enjoyed recording with Steve Power. So let's hear from Steve.
I do remember one thing though, that he didn't want Strong to be on the record.
No.
Guy. He didn't think it was very good.
Guy didn't.
Because and I know why, because he's such a, genius musically. He just found E, A and B was just a bit too boring. And okay, it's got an F sharp minor as well. But he thought it wasn't very interesting. And I said, no, Guy, that's the single. Really?
You've obviously got a good ear for it.
Do you think so? Well, it wasn't swinging. It didn't have that swing. I remember the demo.
Yes.
But, you know, I thought, I could hear that it could go that way straight away. And yeah, that was good.
And how involved was Rob with the production by this point? Was he a little bit more engaged
Even
with
less.
you guys? Less?
Even
Oh,
less.
wow.
That's interesting.
Let me know when I've got to come in and sing, and I don't want to be there for more than an hour.
Right.
I was going to say, I've got a quote here from him. It says, "It's been nice being out of London and doing the vocals, but it ain't half boring. The only bit I enjoy is the half hour it takes to write them.
Yeah.
I'd do anything to
Exactly.
get out of singing."
Exactly. That's the only time he enjoys it, is when he would, the bit where he wrote that, he was probably there, hours.
Yeah.
But once it's written, he's not interested anymore in doing it again. I've done that.
So how do you actually keep his
Didn't want to do
attention?
anything
You must have had some tricks there, Steve. Did you have any little tricks to keep him occupied and keep his attention going?
We did do on the first album, when he was still drinking. We actually used to arrange for little gangs of young women to come and watch him, and because he'd give him for someone so he'd show off, because he'd look at me, he'd look at me and Guy and say, "What am I singing to you two fat boring fucks for?" So we'd like, hang on a minute, we go and get office girls and people who come in to sit at the back of the studio and they look around, we've got this is Becky and this is so and so, and then he'd show off.
Right.
And actually, we'd actually get a better vocal take. We actually got I actually saved "Let Me Entertain You" for when Zoe Ball was coming to the studio in 1997, and she was coming with Jamie Theakston because he was going to go on their show, and they were just going to pop in for an hour for to say hi and look around the studio and hear a couple of tracks. So they came in, heard a couple of tracks, and then I thought, this is my chance. I said, "Rob, how do you fancy? Well, Zoe's here. Why don't you sing 'Let Me Entertain You'?" yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll sing. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And go out and he just amazing vocal because he wanted to show off to Zoe Ball.
Wow.
And most of that take is the one on the record.
Right.
Oh. It just shows how in the moment Rob needs to be there, doesn't he? He responds to connection and feeds from even a small audience of good-looking women. And how easily bored he can get as well. Yeah. We thought you might have a few tricks up your sleeve, not just the technical ones.
we had some terrible days though when he won't mind me saying, because he likes the truth. He doesn't care about the truth. Other people try and hide it. He'd be supposed to be there on a Thursday to sing a song, and he wouldn't arrive, and so we'll do the guitars on this, and still hasn't arrived. Call the management. He'd be along a bit later, so we'd do more guitars, do something or other. Then we get a call. He's not going to come. He's going to come tomorrow. So, okay, Friday comes, we'd be there, tidying things up, doing whatever we could think of to do. Still wouldn't come. We'd come in on Saturday, which we were going to be our day off or something. Yeah. And he still wouldn't come all day. He's supposed to be coming all day, just sitting there waiting for him. Sometimes he was, what should we do? And it was summer though, when we did Life Through a Lens. So we could walk down the Fulham Road and get a coffee and, find some vaguely interesting things to do. But I'm just waiting for him. But he just couldn't get it together to actually come to a studio.
Oh dear.
Bless him.
I don't think he's like that now.
No, the studio comes to him now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Oh, Steve.
What a lovely interview with Steve.
Yeah, there's so many great stories in that interview. If you haven't listened to it, you really, really should check it out. Honestly, it's so good.
Yeah.
Even if we say so ourselves.
Incredible storyteller, Steve. It was just so lovely to listen to.
Yeah.
There was times when we were listening, I actually felt as I was in the studio with them, because he just really portrayed it so well.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do some more with Steve. So Steve, if you're listening, we're going to be in touch because he said he wanted to do part 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So we need to get back to Steve and do some more with him.
Yeah, get some more great stories from him. And then another special that we did that we really, really enjoyed.
Oh, we really, really enjoyed.
I mean, to be honest, I was a bit nervous going into this one because I was like, oh, we're speaking to 3 brothers. They're so close to Rob. They seem like they're really cool because they're DJs.
Yeah, cool.
What's it going to be like? But they were so lovely. I cannot tell you how lovely Kelvin, Rich, and Danny are. Oh,
lovely Stokey lads. They were just so warm and so welcoming and so kind. And another episode just packed with incredible stories, a lot of which you won't have heard before anywhere else. So definitely go back and have a listen to that. And and check out what Danny, Kelvin, and Rich are doing as well, because they're all busy working on their own projects and their own work and their own music.
Actually, there is another funny thing, isn't there?
Yeah.
With Rich, he basically told us that he's written a song with Tommy Cannon, as in Cannon and Ball fame.
If you're not from the UK, they are 2 extremely famous. They were a comedian duo.
A bit like Morecambe and Wise.
Big in the 80s and 90s, weren't they, really? Yeah. Massive on primetime television, huge shows on everything,
Yeah. So he... Basically, back when Rob did his gigs in the UK in Manchester, he met Tommy Cannon backstage, and then Tommy posted a photo of him hugging Rob backstage, which we obviously saw. It kind of went everywhere. And in the background of that photo, I spotted Rich, who we'd interviewed for our podcast, and I just put it, replied to him on Twitter and just said, "Oh, Rich, is that you I spy in the background?" And from that, apparently, it ended up that Tommy ended up following Rich on Twitter, or rather, I think his son, who does all the social media, followed him. And they actually got talking and ended up writing a song together.
Working together.
And so Rich says it's basically only because I happened to tweet that, "Is that you, Rich?" in the background, that song came to be.
Well, we are delighted that you made that musical connection and got them working together.
Yeah.
And they said they had a wonderful time recording with him at Rich's studio. So
yeah,
cool.
It's called "I Don't Want to Be Hip."
Yeah, I Don't Want to Be Hip. Yeah,
it's out now on streaming services. So go and have a listen to that. It's written by Rich.
It's a really good, fun song.
Yeah,
clever,
good lyrics.
Clever lyrics. Yeah. So let's take a listen to our special with Kelvin, Danny, and Rich.
Came up to Danny, so if he remembers this, and said, I've got all your records, I followed your career. And he just joined Take That at that point.
Right.
Any hits.
I do remember that now, actually. That's weird.
And that's how it started. So actually, he followed Danny's career, and it was obviously a bit of an influence to try and that's definitely how I remember it. And
right.
It's a good memory.
Rob would tell us that when he saw Candy Flip on Top of the Pops and realised we were literally like 300 yards down the road from where him, and he something clicked in his head and went, "Oh, it's just down the road, that is." And in his head, he thought, "Yeah, if they can do it, I can do it."
Yeah.
Oh, when he does tell it like that.
When he was little, he said he used to watch me breakdancing with his mum when he was like a little toddler. So, yeah, he says, I remember. He says, "Did you used to break dance down in Tunstall sometimes?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I remember you."
So you've been inspiring him for a very long time, even before the music.
It looks that way, doesn't it? Don't do what I do, Rob. Just don't do what I do.
And he told me he used to come and see me DJ, and he remembered me because I had leather trousers on and a feather boa.
Was that in Golden or somewhere else?
No, I used to play. I think he used to come to. I think he may have been to Golden when I was there, but I think he used to come regularly to a bar in town, which I did on a Sunday.
Yeah,
Quenches.
And I think he came along.
Quenches, yeah.
Yeah, no. This is after Quenches. He would have been well too young to get into Quenches. I'm 10 years old. I'm the eldest. I'm 10 years older than Rob, so that's how I gauge it.
Yeah.
He used to come and see me. I mean, I never knew him then, but he used to come and see me play.
Yeah.
So further to just to end that story, if you like, throughout the when Take That were becoming successful, literally we're having hits. He then would still come and see Max Sachs down in the local bar in Stoke, local music venue, and he'd bring Mark Owen with him and various members to Take That on various occasions. My wife remembers more than I do because I was Mark Owen at the time. So I said, I don't remember him being there, but yeah. So he was coming all the time. And then he invited us all up to a Take That gig in Manchester. We sat with all the families, which was kind of strange. Went back to the bar after a party, and he gave us all a name check on stage, that's way back in the right in the middle of the Take That thing. So
yeah. Amazing.
How did that story kind of evolve into you guys actually working and writing, and
because it was Calvin first, isn't it?
Yeah, I there was a time when we were like, flipping heck, that's Rob, who's on the telly all the time, and Take That were just stratospheric. They were massive. It was kind of like, oh, flipping heck, young Rob, he's a superstar, And then we were doing the Sound 5 record, and I got a phone call. Hiya, Kelv, it's Rob. And I'm like, hi mate, how are you? Can you come up to my house? I want to play some music. And these are the first demos of his solo stuff.
Yeah.
He wanted my thoughts, So I went up to his mum's house in Betley, and we actually no, it was in Newcastle when she was living
in the
Westlands, yeah. And there were kids camping outside. It was madness, but you'd have to look through the curtain and see if anyone was there. I'd never seen anything like it. It was like superstardom, I remember the Bay City Rollers doing the same. It was quite weird. So I sat down and he played me some demos he'd been doing, and I liked what I heard, and I was like, yeah, this is great, because I think the fallout had happened at that point. I think he'd officially left, although I wasn't really following it. He'd officially left Take That, and he was looking to do some solo stuff. So, and then he said, can I come up to the studio? So he came up to the studio on the farm where Danny was in Eccleshall, and he kind of just hung out for a while. And we did some live jamming with the band in the porter cabin, and he came and did some vocals, and it was just like hanging out, It was great. Yeah, it was just kind of the start of him, and then you think the first time he did it was like, oh, flipping out, that was kind of strange. We were at the studio, and the phone rang one day, and that keyboard player who's no longer with us, God rest his soul, answered the phone, and he said, hello. And he said, can I speak to Rob, please? He went, yeah, who's calling? He went, it's Elton. So he went, Rob, it's Elton. It's just like as if it's not inside. We were all going flipping heck, and it was Elton John. How he got the number for the studio, I do not know, but he did. And I remember Rob picking the phone and going, hi, mate, you all right? Like, this is so weird.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very strange. But yeah, and then there was a kind of bit of a gap, and he got back in touch, and he said, do you and Danny do you want to come down to London and write some stuff with us, with me and Guy? And we were like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. Not knowing what would become of it,
Well, in the meantime, he'd been up at the studio, and then I'd been working on a track that was based on the Barry White groove from Ecstasy. Yeah. And I was working it. He's going, I like that. And when he spoke to you, he said, hey, can you bring that Barry White track down with you as well?
Yeah. Because we were doing something with that. It was going to be part of our live thing, wasn't it?
It was going to be like a kind of a Daft Punky thing that we were working on. It's like slow, groovy house thing based on that. But he heard it and had other plans.
Oh, Danny's laugh is so infectious.
Yeah.
All of them. I mean, they're just lovely guys. You can
Yeah.
really understand why Rob so enjoyed and enjoys, working with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're going to get Rich back on the podcast soon with Scott Ralph, who was Rich's friend growing up. That they've written a lot of songs together with Rob. Just the two of them with Rob. He's like the fourth kind of brother, but he's not a brother.
Yes.
So we're going to get them on again. That'd be good.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We should have a good chat with them. Hear some more great stories.
Yeah.
And hear about their work as well that they did with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Next, we've got our good friends, Alan and Sarah, who appeared on our Take the Crown and Take the Crown B-Sides episodes. And this gem of a story was hidden at the end of the B-Sides episode. And I'm pretty sure that not everyone bothers to listen to the B-side episodes as much. We know. So some of you may have missed out on this amazing story. So it goes to show you need to listen to all the episodes because you never know what you're missing.
Oh, yeah. There's little nuggets all over the place. Enjoy this with Alan and Sarah.
Things and people were nervous about doing it, which I don't
And then when
blame
people
them.
voted,
just a like,
they
it
had
was,
to
yeah.
they had to give their details as well, I think.
Yeah.
Got
But
the most
anyway,
votes from the status quo queue at
Yeah,
Scarborough.
we did. Yeah.
What, you went up to a queue?
Yeah.
We went up to a queue at the Open Air
Theatre.
Theatre for status quo
Status
on the
quo.
last day.
Will you vote for me? This
Will you
Robbie
vote for
Williams
me, please?
competition. You can
And
imagine
we spent hours in the queue, going up and down. And we got a few votes.
Wow.
We did.
Well
yeah,
done.
We did.
It worked.
Yeah, it did. And so he ended up, we were third, fourth.
Fifth.
How many
think it was
places
fifth.
were
Fifth.
there?
There was
Do you know?
5.
Only 5.
Yeah,
I
5.
think you
We
just
just
scraped it,
we
didn't
just
you?
scraped in.
So you got one of the 5 places.
I've got one of the 5 places.
And what did that?
we got-
What did that get you? What happened next?
So, we were actually in Milan, weren't we, for the Milan gig when I found out they contacted us to tell me we'd won.
Yeah, you got an email when we were in Italy to say,
So I was immediately elated. My wife was less than elated because it was one person.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
it worked out okay in the
And
end,
then-
but at that point
and
we
then-
had no idea
and
that I
then
would be
I got
able to go.
I got an email saying, look, we know that Sarah's obviously a massive part of your Robbie story. And we wouldn't want you to come on your own, so you can bring Sarah.
Oh, my
So she
God.
came round pretty quick at that point.
He was out of the doghouse at that point. Right?
But I didn't know at that point that I would be able to go to the meet and greet, did I?
No, you didn't. No.
So you would have
No.
gone to the concert,
Yes.
but you
could go
wouldn't.
to the, yeah.
You didn't know whether you'd be
No.
able to go to the meet and greet.
Oh,
It turned out good. It turned out.
So all those other
So,
people in the meet and
actually,
greet came on
the
their
other,
own.
The other funny story about Milan was it was a closing date on the day, I think, of the gig.
right.
And I took a banner. We take banners to the gigs all the time
Yeah.
because that's what we do. All my banner said was, "Have I won?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I
You
held
held
it up.
it up in
And
front of
we
your
were
face.
at the barrier. We were sort of about 5 or 6 back on the B stage. And anyway, when he came on the B stage, I held this banner up, "Have I won?" And he looked at it. And he went, "Yeah," and put his thumb up. And yeah. And I thought, oh, great one. Turned out I had one. You see? So there you go.
But he didn't know if you
So when
won.
we got to Tallinn, they did a setup similar to this in a hotel room, and
Yeah.
there's the video somewhere. Yeah, sat you down and how did you feel when you knew the one? So I told this story about how Rob had told me he'd won while he was on stage, and that was marvellous. Actually, we went to the meet and greet, and Rob walked in and hello and everything. And then he looks at me. He said, "Alan, you had that banner, didn't you, in Milan?" I said, "Have I won?" He said, "What's that about this?" I'm like, "What do you think it was about?" He says, "I didn't have a clue." He says, "But I thought if you'd entered some, you probably would anyway." And I tried to get the footage of both of those to put them together because it would just be hilarious.
Yeah.
But I tried, but I couldn't get it.
Oh.
Robbie's not
Yeah, it
normally
was
on
so
the inside
funny.
track on these things, is he?
No.
So
Last
yeah.
one to know.
So
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
But we got 4 days in Tallinn, didn't we?
Yeah, we were,
4,
we were looked after by the Estonian Tourist Board,
Right.
and given a very nice hotel. There was lots of goodies in the hotel room for things, and we were taken around to all the lovely tourist spots and all the top-end restaurants, and treated like kings right up until after the meet and greet, where we just became sort of like production people.
We had our own Robbie Williams bus,
it's just
didn't we?
slop. Getting there. We had our own sign-written minivan, luxury minivan, to take us around these places. And Tamu, the driver, who was lovely. And of course, I mean, the big story of the whole 4 days was the scrapbook, because when we won, I was inundated with requests. Oh, will you take Rob this teddy bear, and will you take him this, and will you take him
Will
that?
you ask him this? Will you?
Will you give him this card? Will you? And do you know what I mean? And I didn't like to say no. So I thought. So we had an idea, and I said, look, we will make a scrapbook of our journey. We called it From Scarbados to Tallinn.
Yeah.
And we got all our friends and all our Robbie friends and anybody else that was in Robbie land that we didn't really know, to send us a picture and a short message. And I said, I'll put it in a scrapbook. We'll put it in a scrapbook, and I will take it with us. Which was great up until the time we got to Tallinn. And the first thing they said to us at the meet and greet, you will not give anything to Rob.
You can't take anything in with
there
you.
will be no exceptions to this.
Oh dear.
Go in. And, we didn't. Oh my God, what we're going to do now? So we spent 3 days panicking about what we were going to do with this. But we had friends on Twitter and Facebook that were in touch with Tim of Tim and Flynn fame, who was friends with Tom Longworth. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So there was messages flying between Tallinn and the UK on Twitter and back to us in saying, take it here, take it there. I mean, we ended up one night, we'd been on a beach with a bonfire.
With red wine.
Oh, God.
With quite a lot of red wine.
Quite a lot
Smelling
of alcohol.
fire.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were supposed to go back to the hotel and go to bed before the gig the next day. And we said, look, last gasp with this scrapbook.
Yeah.
And somebody gave us was it Tom's or was it Tim's address?
Yeah.
One of them's address in Tallinn, and said, take it to the apartment. He says he'll give it to Rob. Fine, we'll go there. Tamu, the driver, who's lovely, took us into the old town. In the minibus. Dropped us off, said, it's just down there. Thanks very much. We went in this old bloody lift and up this place, and it was a strange building.
It was like a cage
strange
lift.
apartment building.
Real
like you see in a horror film or
a
James Bond, where they're fighting through cage lifters. It's one of those coming down the middle of it. And there was all these Twitter messages who were saying,
leave it on the doorstep.
We said, there's nobody in at this place. Oh, leave it on the house. I said, we put a lot of work into the book. I said, not just leave it in a plastic bag and bloody Morrison's carrier bag hanging on a door in the middle of Tallinn. We said, we'll have one last go and we'll just go up to the hotel. And I hate going to this hotel. I don't do it. I don't like going to stage doors.
We don't do stalking.
But we said we were desperate at this point, and knowing that, I mean, everybody had their sort of hopes pinned on their message getting to Rob or not. We knew it. And so when you're carrying that as well as scrapbooking and Morrison's carrier bag, we went to this hotel. Was it Four Seasons?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a nice hotel. Anyway, we got there. And it was
a lot of people outside.
Italians, the Italians who liked to go to hotels, and they were, so we had to do a bit of diversion tactics. So I was hiding behind advertising boards and bollards, telling you what we looked like. I don't know. Anyway, I got into the hotel, up to reception. Hello, I'd like to leave this book for Tom Longworth. Yes. No, we haven't got Tom Longworth in. I said, God. He's with Robbie Williams band. Is he? Mm. Okay, so if you just like to stay there a minute, I'll get the concierge to see you. thought, oh God, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Morrison's carrying back.
Stinking of bonfire.
You're still smelling at that point,
yeah.
right?
And so the concierge came and yes, sir. And so I explained, I said, I've got the book, and Tom Long was, will take it off me if I can get it to him. He said, I can take you as far as security, sir. And I said, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? If I can leave it at security.
Did he think you were a courier or
fine.
something?
I don't know what he thought. But anyway, he said, come with me. Anyway, took me over to the lift. I went in this lift, quite a large lift, and there was, I said, there 400 people, 2 couples in like Armani suits and dress things. And I'm stood there with this concierge, and I look in the mirror. Just think, if I were him, I wouldn't have let me in this building.
No,
Never mind, take me in this lift with these people. Anyway, this went up to quite a high floor, and these people got off, and he took his, obviously security card out to get the lift to go right to the top.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Penthouse,
And at this point, I'm thinking, I'm in trouble here. I'm starting to sweat a little bit, as well as smelling a bonfire. Morrison's carrying a bag and looking like it's, came out of this lift, he said, just wait here, sir. And it was just a lobby. Yeah, very sparse, lobby. And I'm thinking, if there were stairs, if I knew where the stairs were, I'd be down those stairs, I'd be out. And she said, I couldn't do it. And he walked back with this man in shirt sleeves, and, he didn't look like a policeman. So that's reassured me. And I said, look, I'm really sorry, but I said, I've been told I can't take anything to the meet and greet tomorrow, but that's where I'm going. And he just looked at me and he said, yeah, they were right, you can't. He said, but, I'll give it to him. Oh, great, I thought. And I went, hang on a minute, who are you? And he just turned round and he smiled. I'll always remember, he just turned round, he looked at me and smiled and said, he'll get there. And he walked out. I thought, get in the lift, get in the lift, get in the lift. I'm going, yeah. And at this point, I think this concierge was thinking, I don't know whether I should have done. Let this. Anyway, went outside. Great. It was lovely. It was forgotten. So everybody stared at, like, who have you given it to? I said, the fucking man at the top of the fucking lift. I have not.
I was showing him pictures. Right. Was it this man? Was it this man?
I said, I don't know. I said, fucking. Anyway, I said, I'm sure it's got to the right place. You know what I mean? It was a penthouse. It was the top of the hotel. I'm sure. Yeah. And I'd seen his face when he smiled at me and said it'll get there. And it wasn't till the actual meet and greet. And he walked in, and Gary, it was SAS Gary. And I went, that's him.
And I went, well, that's Gary.
That's who got the scrapbook.
That's the man.
His bodyguard.
His bodyguard, his close personal bodyguard.
Main man.
Main man. It couldn't have gone to any better. And it was fun. And we had our picture taken after the meet and greet, and we had our picture taken. And I went over and I said, look, I'm sorry about last night. I said, I wanted to leave at reception or somewhere. And he laughed and said it's absolutely fine. And Josie, who stood next to him, the dagger she gave me, she was going there. I got anywhere near. And, sorry. But I know that he read it. Who told us that he'd read it? Oh, I think it was Tom. Was it Tom or Tim? One of them had messaged and said he got the scrapbook.
But he said that the meet and greet was
he did. Book. He stayed up long into the night reading it.
I bet.
And so that made it all worthwhile. And yeah.
Well, Alan, on behalf of all the fans that know you, thank you for taking that journey up to the top of that hotel and
I'll never do it again.
To his bodyguard. We all appreciate it.
We did another one. We made another one.
Yeah, you did.
And that one was a lot easier because we just went to loose women. And,
you gave it to him.
And in the break, I just went, "Hey, Rob," I said, "There's this." He went, "Oh, is that the thing?" And took it off me. So that was a lot easier. Yeah. It's
what a lovely story.
Yeah, I do like hearing that story.
Yeah, it was a good book. And we took pictures of every page and made it into a video and put it on. And I used The Promise as a backing track of that.
Yeah.
I just wish we'd have done 2 scrapbooks and kept one for ourselves. But we didn't.
Yeah.
A lot of work though, wasn't it?
But you got a digital version.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a digital version. We got a record. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was, the whole weekend was a bit of, it was surreal. A lot of it was just
because
surreal.
they saved you a spot on the front barrier.
Oh, yeah, they put
that
the
was,
barriers. Yeah.
Wow.
That was
VIP
horrible.
treatment.
Yeah.
There's Alan and Sarah there, our good friends Alan and Sarah, with an amazing story.
It always
It's
makes me
just
laugh.
One of the best, isn't it? It's just a funny story. As Alan said, he's not the kind of person that would normally do that kind of thing. He always, keeps away, gives Rob space and everything else. So for him to be put into that situation, stinking of smoke, it's just hilarious, absolutely hilarious. But he did it on behalf of all the fans, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Got messages into that book,
Yeah,
and
it
Rob
was
did
nice.
read it. So, yeah.
Very good.
And now on to another special episode. And this one is with Jerry Meehan, who's Rob's bass guitarist.
Yeah.
And another absolute gentleman. Just from start to finish, it was just lovely to work with Jerry. Such a nice guy. We were lucky enough to actually go up to Wendy House Studios in London, which is the studios that he owns. And we spent about half a day there with him, didn't we? Really?
Yeah.
We had a bit of lunch and had a look around the studio there, and we just had a wonderful chat with him. Just such a fun time.
Yeah.
And this one, you definitely need to go and look at our website and our YouTube channel for this one as well, because we did a little video, which Jerry was. Well, it was Jerry's idea, wasn't it, actually, to do a little bit of a video, like an MTV Cribs style video, like an entrance into the studios, and we had a lot of fun. And there's a few outtakes, actually, at the end of it as well. Couldn't quite get the intercom to work. But yeah, we had a lovely time with Jerry, didn't we?
Yeah, he's a lovely man.
So let's hear from Jerry. Yeah. So tell us how you came to know Robbie then, moving into the Robbie beginnings.
Well, I don't think I officially work-wise came back into Rob's life, which is, I always knew him for a long time. It's a complicated story, the other bit, but it's not complicated. It's just blurring a long time ago. But Max, as I said, Max had written a B-side with Rob for Sexed Up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I went over there to help on the production of that for 5 days to see, and I knew Rob, but the bass playing gig wasn't talked about. Nothing was talked about. I was just going over there to just do this B-side with them and have a laugh. So we went over there and I had a great laugh. I hope they did. And we did Appliance from Science, which is the first thing. And I played football, got kicked in the nuts, kicked in the face, had a laugh with Rob, and, I think, we went down to see a gig in those days, and it was the Scissor Sisters in their early days at the, what's that famous little club in LA?
The Viper?
No, but it's like that. Anyway, we went down there, what's it called? Anyway, went down there. I got quite drunk. Robbie didn't drink anything, of course. And I was just sort of swaying away in front of him, I think, and just really enjoying the gig. And then he said in the back of the car, obviously the bass playing thing had changed, there was nothing going on. And he said in the back of the car, I was drunk actually. He said, do you fancy doing, he said, do you fancy doing the bass on the next tour? I said, yeah. That was kind of it. He said, well, move like that on stage and do, you'll be fine. But I mean, he trusted Max. He trusted what I'd done before and, hopefully liked me but that's Rob. He didn't have to have an hour with me playing scales to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the start. And the other bit, which probably is more blurry to him, but as we've just talked about, you worked and lived around here. I lived in 3 places around here. I don't do any more, but one of them, 31 Addison Gardens, which is literally around the corner.
Yeah.
When Rob left to take that and went to Glastonbury in the show and all that period, he came to my house where I lived with Max.
Oh.
And I think we smoked weed and watched with Nail and I for a few hours while he checked the papers. He went around the corner and checked the papers and saw he was in the front of everyone going, fucking hell. And then, that was the first time. That was one of the first times we spent a lot of time together. But then obviously he got busy.
Yeah.
And then then we reconnected around then.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a long time ago, as you just told me, 19 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2004 that Appliance of Science came out. So I guess you probably
so I wasn't really in the band then, and there wasn't, and that was after after the big one. What's it called?
Escapology.
No, the big
Nebworth.
gig. No, after Nebworth, which I was at, and then there was a band.
Did you?
Yeah, I watched it as an audience.
Yeah.
Patient audience. And then my first TV was Jonathan Ross, and my first gig was Live 8.
Oh, right. Wow. What a first gig.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I think, but we were recording Intensive Care before that. That's right. Yeah. So I was in LA for a long time recording based on Intensive Care with Stephen Duffy. And that's kind of the first, that's where the band started and Rude Box started, really.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Oh, Jerry. Rude Box. We all know Jerry wrote one of my all-time favourite Robbie songs, The 90s. With Rob, obviously.
Yeah, you enjoyed talking to him about that, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, love Jerry. I mean, when we were at the Isle of Wight Festival, he spotted us, didn't he? He gave us a little was it a thumbs up or something? Like while he was playing? I don't really know how he kind of did that. Yeah, bless him.
Yeah, it was lovely to hear his stories and his backstory with Rob. And interesting to know that he knew him before he even was introduced to play in the band.
Time.
Yeah.
Fascinating to think that he was in that Robbie was in that a house there or apartment in West London. Just, you just wouldn't expect it. It's like, in London you get this sort of mansion block kind of big flats. And it just looks like a load of flats, but from the outside you would just never assume that Robbie from Take That was hiding in there.
And Lucy was working just around the corner.
Not at that stage. I was working around the corner about 6 years after that.
The area though, yeah.
Yeah. Then our next clip that we're going to play is from Tony Lewis, the Robbie tribute act, who we discussed Reality Killed the Video Star with.
Yeah, let's hear from Tony.
As you say, you were on telly with him once on Anton Deck.
Yeah, well, that didn't make the cut because I think there was that many expletives on it. So, I mean, the first time I met Robbie was at Channel 4, and that was with Vernon. Vernon's like a local lad. He's a friend of a friend. And he, he's such a good, I'm saying Vernon K, like there's not many Vernons knocking about.
No, yeah.
So we kind of, that kind of links to the second meeting actually. So bear with me. So we go down to Channel 4. The traffic's shocking. Mm-hmm. So I get in there and Vernon says, Robbie's in here. So I said, I've been in the car for 7 hours. I really, really need a wee. Can I go? So I go down to the toilet in the Channel 4 studios and then like walk past this guy in the vest and jeans, like tattooed, and he's just in the door frame, just like limbering up. I know this is not a great visual for the podcast. And he just looked at me and went, all right, mate. And I just went, all right, mate. And then I went and had a wee. And I was like, fucking hell, that was Robbie Williams, I was just like, and had a very, very strange wee. And then come back, and he was then chatting to Vern about football the night before. And I didn't want to come and butt in and, I was like, and like David was with him at the time, bless him. And I could see him kind of being very kind of, not edgy, but a bit aware of me around him. So they kind of then go into the live, and then they do the, I think it was Pushing Radio at the time.
Right.
And he'd just had a part in the Cole Porter film. So they were pushing that as well. So Vern and June were kind of running the interview real time. And in one of the breaks, he just said, "Will you just say hello to my mate, Tony?" And he went, "Hi, Tony." And at the time, he had like a big mohawk. Again, great visual for the podcast. And Robbie had just had his hair cut short. And he just kind of, "Hey, Tony, can I have my hair back?" And I went, "Oh, no, man, it's better than that." You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. He went back into the interview. Anyway, so then Vern just gives him a little bit of a whisper, and he kind of went, "Oh, does he now?" And I was like, "Oh, shit, this is going to go off. He's going to kick me out of here." You know, so at the end of the interview, Robbie comes over and says, "Hey, Vern's just said what you do." And I said, "Yeah, I'm a plumber." And he said, "You do me in Blackpool." I said, "Yeah, is that all right?" He went, "Oh, I'm fucking flattered, man." He said, "Are you doing loads of fucking?" Just kind of went,
That's brilliant.
you know.
I love the fact it's his first question.
You know. Yeah. And then we spoke, and then he said, "Listen, are you coming over to sing with us this afternoon?" And I was like, I had to go back to work. The guy wouldn't give me the night off from the show in Blackpool. I couldn't believe it. You know, this random kind of Tuesday, I think it was. And I said, "Mate," I said, "I've got to go and work tonight." He went, "Fucking hell, it's hard work being me, innit?" And I was just like, yeah, you know, so, and it kind of, then, you know, I just spoke about football. He signed a book for my mum, whose birthday it was, and, you know, left it at that. And, you know, from meeting him yourself, it just kind of warms you. And then, you know, we got the picture, you know, he was fine. It was cool. He was like, "You know, you're a big lad, aren't you? You know, I am quite a broad guy." He's like, "You're a big lad, aren't you?" You know, just like, "All right, mate, easy on this." And so then when I then got the job for Ant and Dec a few years ago, which would have been, I think, 2016, because it was a few weeks after the Troxy, the Lifetime Achievement Brit. Was that about right?
Yeah, 2016, yeah. Yeah.
So Ant and Dec kind of booked me to prank him on the prank. And we're just like, you know, so him and Ida are pranking party planners at this pub in Shepherd's Bush that they've taken over the pub. They're having a launch night. They want the party planner, you know, all the pumps are like, you know, whatever, let me entertain you, draft or what have you. The guest list is, you can have one of the cheeky girls, but not one of the other cheeky girls. You can have the cast of Coronation Street, but not EastEnders, and, you know, but no Gary Barlow, definitely no Gary Barlow, you know, and because you've got Ant and Dec, I'm sat with Ant and Dec in the van, and I'm also in the ear, you know, so you can hear what they're saying to Robbie. You can see Ant and Dec just cracking up. You know, what you see is what you get with them.
Yeah.
You know, and then we just they sent me then in as a delivery driver. So I kind of go in and I'm like, "Delivery for Mr. Williams," and like pull this thing down, and Robbie's just like looking and just went, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then Ida's looking and going, "What's going on here?" Then the guy the party planner who they're pranking is going, "What's going on here?" And then you can hear Ant and Dec pissing themselves in the ears. You know what I mean? They're just laughing and they're going, "Yeah, so now just go and stand at the bar and ask for a glass of water." So I'm going, "Yeah, Rob, any chance for a glass of water, mate?" And he's going, yeah. And then, "Any chance for another glass of water?" And, you know, you can hear Ant and Dec just laughing about it. And then when you see it, and it's just, everybody's just kind of going, "What is going on here?" And then they go into the back, they do the reveal, Ant and Dec pop out. And then Robbie comes storming through the front of the pub, and he's going, you know, "Where's that bastard? Where's that bastard?" And he's like, you know, he's going, "You're Tony Lewis, right? You're Tony Lewis. You do me, don't you? You do me." And I'm like, yeah, man. He's going, "Oh," and he give me an hug. He's like, "How you doing?" And then we spoke about the Everton Entertainment Show, and he was asking about my favourite songs from the artist. Then speaking about the Troxy, and he was like, which one was the Troxy? Like, you know, that Lifetime Achievement thing you got. Yeah. Which, you know, kind of sees what kind of headspace he's in at times.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just, you know, he was just so good. And then we've done a couple of interviews with him, and then he's kind of give us a bit of a shout out. He turned up to a gig in Ibiza that I do in Santa Eulalia, and he got the wrong night.
Oh my God.
And he said it on one of his Instagram lives. People were like, you need to get on Instagram Live. He's just speaking about Turn Up G Gig and he got the wrong night. So when, I suppose that's like one question I'd ask him is that, if he'd walked into one of my gigs, I would have just been like,
yeah, that would have been weird.
So I'd like to know who would stop him in his tracks if they walked into one of his gigs. I think that'd be
a great question.
That is a very good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to be able to put that question to Robbie when we interviewed him. I'm sure you've all listened to that interview. So we thought we won't put a bit of our Robbie interview into our best bits because we all know that is the best bit anyway.
Yeah, you can't choose one bit from that interview because it was all good.
Yeah.
But if you by chance haven't heard our interview with Robbie Williams and you're only listening to this episode, then when you finish this one, definitely go back and listen to that. But it was nice to be able to put some of your questions to Rob. And we hope to do that again in the future, actually. Yeah. Rob has agreed to come back onto the show. And so we're keeping in touch with him. And you'll hear him back again at some stage. Obviously, there's a lot going on. He did want to come back and talk about his new album. So
hopefully that's going to happen.
Might have to wait for that, or, depends on what happens. But yeah, let's hear his response to who would stop him in his tracks if they walked into a gig and he was on stage.
One of your tribute artists, Tony Lewis, said that if you walked into one of his gigs, it would stop him in his tracks. So he'd like to know who would stop you in your tracks if they walked into your gig.
Who would stop? Hi, Tone. Who would stop me in my tracks if they walked into? No one really, because I love there being somebody in that's somebody that I admire that's in the same industry.
Yeah.
I like showing off for them. I like I was thinking about who I lost the plot with the most. And it was Will Farrell.
Oh yeah.
Like my heroes are comedians.
Right.
And when I did Soccer Aid with Will Farrell, and he used to come to my house and play football with me in LA, I went fully fanboy and just didn't know how to speak to him. Because I've got, so I reckon whoever it's in the audience just makes me want to boss the show even more.
Because so you go the other way.
It's the other way. Yeah, I think I get cockier when I know people are in the audience going, they'll fucking love this. Hello to me.
Get a load of Rob.
Get a load of me. What a lovely interview that was. And it's so nice that I think it was an interesting question, actually.
Yeah, it's a really good question by Tony.
From Tony, because I'm not sure he's ever been asked that before.
No.
Certainly never heard him be asked anything like that. But yeah, now you come to think about it, in retrospect, that had to be Robbie's answer, didn't it? But yeah, what a lovely interview that was. The main man himself.
And then moving on to another friend, Karen, who talked about something that happened with Rob when she went to see him on the Progress tour. She was in our Heavy Entertainment Show Part 1 episode, Karen from Wales, and she's got a great laugh. We love Karen.
We love you, Karen. We enjoyed having you on the show.
Yeah.
Lots of very good stories in that episode as well.
Yeah, there's more. If you haven't heard her episode, then check that out. But here's a little clip.
Back in, he did Progress with Take That.
Yeah.
And they came to Cardiff. And I studied everybody else's YouTube videos of that concert to find out where he was going to be and where he spent most of his time on stage so that I could aim for that spot when I went in to watch him in Cardiff.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did.
Excellent.
Anyway, I had the ideal spot, and it was right in front of him. Even though the gap between the stage was quite large,
Yeah.
he was still there, you know. But do you know when he went out on that sort of like travelator thing?
Yeah.
It was like a triangular thing, and he was stood on there.
For
He
feel.
came right over my head, and I had my Welsh flag, and I was sort of like trying to reach up for this flag, and he couldn't reach it, and he went down. He got back on the stage, and he sent a security man over to take the flag.
Oh.
So he took the whole place just erupted because he had the Welsh flag on.
Yeah.
Which was brilliant. And of course, there's me then. Oh my God, you got my flag. So he took that up on stage. Of course, I wanted it back.
Yeah,
of course. He'd worn it. I wanted it back.
Yeah.
So like the show carried on, and then sort of he was on stage then with Take That and everything. And all the way through the show, there was like a bit of banter going on. Because I was like, where's my flag? And he was like, I don't know. And it was like, well, I want it back. And he was like, oh, you bloody nuts and stupid thing, you know, all the way through, you know. So that was like really nice. But at the end of the night, Take That did a song, and then they all sort of ran down the walkway.
Yeah.
And he came running around. He ran straight past to the end, and then he came back. He stopped dead in front of me, and he grabbed my hand, and he said, I'm really sorry. He said, I can't find your flag.
Oh.
I was like, oh, I know. I was like, oh my God. But that was that.
Oh, bless
He was
him.
gone.
I love that.
Yeah. That's a long time ago. Long time ago.
Yeah. I've never heard that story before.
No, that's a new one.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
he took the time to come and speak to
I
you.
know, yeah, but he knew exactly where I was
Yeah,
as well, which is really funny because he'd run past first and then he sort of come back and stopped dead.
Yeah.
You know, it was brilliant.
Oh.
Yeah. I never got the flag back.
Oh.
No.
Oh, well, you've got the
Shame.
memories.
I've got the memories. Yeah. Yeah. But I did, when he did Cardiff then the next time with...
Heavy Entertainment Show.
Yes. Then he took my flag again. And this time I had it back. So,
He's learned his
I
lesson.
got it back. So each time he's come to Cardiff, he's had my flag.
Oh.
Yeah.
You didn't have to put Karen's Welsh flag on the front
Yeah.
of it, did you?
Well, next time I think I will. Yeah, just so he knows.
Oh, great for getting Wales on the stage as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Oh dear.
So have you ever met Robbie?
Yes. Yeah. The first time. Oh yes. We got papped the first time.
Ah.
Which was outside of the Palladium. The day of the Palladium show.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was actually my birthday.
Oh.
So that was like a brilliant birthday present. So yes. Only for a few seconds. He was there.
That as he was going in or coming out?
As he was going in, he was
Right.
very orange, he was like on the false tan.
Oh, yes.
And I think, I'm not sure who it was that told me that he'd been trying to scrub it off. So you could see, like, his
Yeah.
face was, like, really red.
Jocelyn said in her episode when she was at that show backstage. She
Oh,
was on
right,
stage.
yes, that's right, yeah.
She said that she heard.
She was there with me.
Yes.
When we met.
I remember
Yeah.
she told the story. Yeah,
Oh,
she
she
mentioned
did,
that
yeah.
they saw.
But she said that the makeup ladies were annoyed that he'd put all that tan on and they were trying to find something to get it off.
Right.
Because he looked a different colour to the scenes that they'd already
He was.
recorded,
Yeah.
and the continuity wasn't working.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was the reason behind it. I
Yeah.
didn't realise.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So, yeah.
And then,
But yeah, Jocelyn was there.
right. And then after
Okay.
that, I think you've met him again, have you?
Right, okay. So that time, it was great because I had a card which I'd caught from Take the Crown. Do you know, like when he threw the cards out in Me and My
Oh, yeah.
Monkey? So I had that signed, which was fab. Didn't say a lot. I was quite surprised at how tall he was.
Yeah, he is.
But I didn't realise. And so we got papped during that, which was brilliant because it's a good picture. And then the second time, was outside the magic show, the magic Christmas show.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was there for a while.
Yeah, and I was sat around the front and I missed it all.
Being a good girl around the front.
Yeah.
It was so cold, but he was fab. He was fab. Yeah. I just like always open my mouth and say the wrong thing. I always feel like, for God's sake, just shut up. But I'm so excited, you know, I'm just like babbling on, and you must think, oh my God, just that mental woman again.
No.
But yeah. Yeah.
We enjoyed chat with Karen, didn't we? Always do.
Yeah. And there was another story she told about when he called her a midget. You do need to listen to that episode to listen to that story as well. She's brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Really, really, really good stories from Karen.
So next up we have Chris Briggs, who was our most recent episode.
Yeah.
But one of our most, I don't know, interesting or exclusive interviews that we've managed to secure on the podcast.
A real in-depth discussion with Chris.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have probably spent another few hours with Chris. The stories he has to tell are just incredible. He also doesn't do interviews. He's done one or two in the past few years for some music colleges, I think, and for some friends, but he really doesn't often talk. And he was very keen to talk to us because he'd heard about what the podcast was about and, really, really liked the idea. And so, yeah, he was very gracious with his time. And, it's just, if you haven't listened to this one, you have to.
Yeah.
It's a must listen.
To both parts.
So let's hear a little snippet with Chris Briggs.
And he was having a lot of success with the Lightning Seeds, and he was using Pete Townsend's studio on the Thames. So he had a nice location. So I introduced that idea to Rob. Rob went down there. About 3:00, the phone rings. It's Ian. He said, Rob went out for a walk about 3 hours ago and hasn't come back. Right. I thought, oh, that hasn't worked out then. That's no cloud over Ian.
No.
It's just Rob makes his mind up very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, one of Rob's better ones was he'd met the band, the Long Pigs, and Richard Hawley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it Richard?
Yeah.
So they went up to Sheffield. So Rob went up to Sheffield on his own to write with Richard, not Crispin. I think it was just Richard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember this correctly.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just Richard, yeah.
I'm sure it was Richard, and Richard's lovely. And Rob's got there, and at some point in the evening, Keith Allen and Bez have turned up.
Oh dear.
With a bag of party stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rob's decided that's not for him. And he's called me, and I've gone, "Where are you, Rob?" He said, I'm just leaving Sheffield. I said, "You going back to the hotel?" He said, "No, I'm coming back to London." So you're in a cab? He went, "Yeah."
Oh.
So I got a cab back to London from Sheffield. It's just a very Rob thing to do. In the studio thinking, no, I don't want this. So we kissed frogs for a bit. And all the time, I've got various friends who look after writers, who either manage writers or publish writers, who I'm constantly chipping away at. So there's somebody I don't know or haven't thought of.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody suitable, and a lot of people said no.
Right.
Or a lot of people were in bands, and even though they were off cycle, maybe having a couple of years off between albums and tours, a lot of people didn't want to co-write. Mm. It wasn't such a big thing in 1996, 97. Anyway, one of my close friends at the time was Paul Curran, who ran BMG Publishing, and he would send me periodically, 8 cassettes, and I'd dutifully listen to them, and I think, no. And then on about the third batch, he sent me And I think by now, Rob's managed by David Enthoven and Tim Clark.
Yeah.
Right.
So I probably did, I don't know, fat end of a year on my own with Rob.
Right.
7 or 8 months. I couldn't tell you exactly how long. And Paul he's also friendly with Tim and David. So by now he's sending them the same stuff he's sending me. So in amongst the next batch is Guy. And I'm thinking, why hadn't I thought of Guy before? I know Guy. So, I mean, not well.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that one on first. And it's a couple of tracks off the Ill-Fated Lemon Trees album.
Yeah.
And I was A&Ring World Party at the time. I was working on an album called Egyptology, which I'd given to Rob, and he liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So a sort of penny dropped.
Mm.
Guy and Carl had worked in World Party together, but had fallen out. I mean, Carl's a one-off. I mean, very, very talented. A great writer. But he didn't want it. I mean, I think I may have talked to Carl about Rob. He didn't want to do anything outside of World Party.
No.
So I called David and I said, have you had some, because this is the years. I said, have you had some writer cassettes from Paul? I said, this Guy Chambers one's good. I said, it's the best thing we've had for a long time. And we go, let's give Guy a go.
Yeah.
You know, by now, I don't know, half a dozen have fallen. Every now and then you get really lucky, it works straight away. So we put them in together to write, and it just clicked. I mean, they're chalk and cheese. They couldn't be more different as people. You wouldn't, if you'd met Rob and spent any time with him, and you'd met Guy and spent any time with him, you wouldn't automatically think these two people, marriage made in heaven.
Yeah.
They're as different as in every respect as it's almost possible to be. But then I'd worked with people where I remember meeting Elton John and Bernie Taupin together.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very different people.
Had a lovely time with Chris, didn't we?
We did.
Amazing stories.
Yeah.
And as we said earlier on, someone who's been by Rob's side for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're rewinding back to the very early days of the podcast with our Sing When You're Winning episode with American Paul. And there's 2 parts to this episode because we had a lot to talk about and some great stories from American Paul. So, let's hear from him. Both videos for this and Eternity were premiered together on Channel 4 in the UK in a short film called Rob by Nature. So
let's talk about the video.
Yeah, what do you think then, Lucy?
Well, my funny moment is when he's travelling on the Isle of Wight ferry.
Yes.
Which I don't know whether that makes any sense to you, Paul. But I guess it's a bit like travelling on the Staten Island ferry or something. It's not a glamorous big like cruise ship that he's on.
It's a car transporter, and passenger transporter. It just goes backwards and forwards to this island all day long. So it doesn't go to any glamorous locations or anything. So it's a bit of a pun.
You know, they make it look as though it's this amazing location and all that, but it's a bit of a joke that then he's on the Isle of Wight ferry.
That is funny.
And I just like the fact that the video is sort of littered with humour, which takes the edge off the fact that it's a robbery.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And he looks absolutely amazing in it. And I love the fact that they used a puppy to threaten the van driver. What do you think, Matt?
Well, like you, I just love the fact it starts with the Isle of Wight ferry. I mean, it's just amusing. Well, because we also have connections down that way as well, so we know the Isle of Wight. And I remember they're playing golf in the parking hold at the bottom of the ship, and then suddenly he arrives in these sweeping mountainscapes, and clearly they're not in the Isle of Wight. And yeah, again, it tells a story. You you don't really know what's going on to begin with, but then you begin to realise that they're planning some kind of hold up of a money truck, and they drive a giant lorry into it, and like you say, Robbie shows that puppy to the driver. Do this or the puppy gets it. I don't know whether that was the
yeah, I think that's basically what the message said. Yeah.
And then and then they're all celebrating at the end in that really extravagant, incredible sort of home, and then you see them whizzing around the mountains, having that party back at the place. What struck me when I was watching it back again was, again, I think this is another one of those high budget films. I mean, it looked like a big production values, lots of different effects, lots of different stunts. And then you get to the end and you see an old woman in the road and it's about to knock her over, and then he wakes up with a start in bed at home.
Yeah.
And
you wonder whether it was all a dream.
Yeah,
almost.
that was my question. Was it all a dream?
Yeah. What do you
Paul,
think, Paul?
Was it all a dream?
I hope so. I hope it was all a dream. As you said, these videos were combined with a brief story, and Rob made a short film called Rob by Nature, and I'm going to react mostly to the film Rob by Nature because they also appeared as separate videos without the dialogue, but the dialogue to me makes a lot of difference. At the time in the USA, I had no access to this film and hardly even knew it existed. I think that's a blessing. I'll say something positive first. I like how Rob wanted to combine the two songs, which were both considered A-sides on one single. He combined them into a short film that's very ambitious. In the behind-the-scenes footage, Rob looks like he's having a good time making this short film. So I only saw the film Rob by Nature just a few weeks ago after you'd asked me to be on this podcast, and I am so grateful that my opinion of Rob was fully formed before I ever saw this film.
Yeah.
You remember how the Rock DJ video was extremely influential in my earliest experiences of Robbie Williams in creating a very positive idea for me about who this artist was.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, what would have happened if my first exposure to Robbie Williams had been the film Rob by Nature? The director, Vaughn Arnell, he has directed many of Rob's best videos, in my opinion. Rock DJ, Shame, Millennium, Feel, Angels, all amazing videos. But here, Rob plays this absolutely despicable character, and he wears a mask, yells obscenities to intimidate someone he's robbing, and as you said, threatens a puppy. Now, maybe I just don't have any sense of humor about this, or maybe I missed the humor. The obscenities don't come off as kind of cute, like when Rob says them on stage. These are just obscenities said in the nastiest way possible. And throughout the film, the character narrates his outlook on life, and it's deplorable, hearing these words voiced by Robbie Williams. I think that Rob is a good actor and should be able to play diverse roles when he wants to. I just wonder why he wanted to do this while promoting these two wonderful songs. Rob plays a villain in a film promoting his music. I don't find it flattering to Rob. I don't find it very interesting. And again, I'm glad my very positive opinion about who Robbie Williams is was well solidified long before I saw this film. I love those two songs. And if this film had been my first look at Robbie Williams, I may not have ever become a fan, and that would be tragic.
Yeah.
If I had seen this film early on, I might have thought that Rob was maybe really like that awful character, or at least some part of Rob was. For all I know, lots of people may like this film. I don't enjoy saying bad things about the work of someone who has brought so much joy into my life. It's actually hard for me to say anything bad about anything that Robbie Williams does. So I will end this rant by saying something positive and true. Rob is a great actor in this video, and that's why it's a bit frightening to see him as this terrible crook, because Rob is very convincing in that role. And I'm actually a little surprised that Rob hasn't done major acting roles in movies playing fictional characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Paul. I don't think I had such an extreme, or quite the same reaction.
But Matt, let me ask you this. Are you talking about the version with the dialogue? Is that what you saw?
No, No.
No.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen the version with the dialogue?
Well, I have got it on a DVD somewhere.
We
but
must have watched it at some point.
Yeah, we should have watched it. I'd forgotten that
It makes all the difference. Because I can watch the Road to Mandalay video and the Eternity video, and I don't mind them so much.
Yeah.
But when you hear it with the dialogue, this character has a really despicable outlook on life.
Yeah.
And he voices it, and the words are coming from Robbie Williams' voice. And I am so used to Robbie Williams being for inclusion and compassion and all of these positive feelings. And here is this despicable, that is the best word I can pick for him, despicable character voicing these vile thoughts. And it's just, it's kind of shocking.
Now I understand.
Well,
and Lucy and I will have to go away and definitely rewatch that, because that must have been a long, long time ago that we watched that the last time.
Now you say it, I do have a vague memory of it, but I'd forgotten that it was something we needed to watch.
Well, almost don't want to now because of what Paul said about it, but I think we have to to honour that and go and give that a review. We'll let you know what we think.
That'll be interesting.
But thanks, Paul. And I wonder if other people listening to the podcast might feel the same, or maybe have different views. Let us know your views.
And who knows? They might think I have no sense of humor, or that my American sensibilities were somehow offended by this. I don't know. But it's probably my least favorite project of Robbie Williams is that film Robbed by Nature.
Yeah.
All views are accepted here on the Robbie Williams Rewind podcast, Paul.
But Rob knows I adore him, and that's awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
He does, Rob. He still loves you, even though he doesn't like that piece of work.
So I just thought it was interesting to hear that clip back, because we hadn't watched Robbed by Nature for years at that point. So we watched it just before recording this episode.
Yeah, we did.
So that we could finally give you our thoughts on Robbed by Nature.
Yeah. I don't think it's too bad. I mean, obviously he's in character.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of a... I think I see what Paul's getting at. There's a bit of a blend. He's sort of in character as Rob. Because it doesn't feel as though he's completely in that character all of the time. Sometimes it sort of seems as though it's Rob talking, but it's obviously not. It's supposed to be the character, but I know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I wasn't as offended by it as Paul was. I found it quite funny.
It's a bit lewd, a bit of sort of sexual talk and a few things, and it's a bit. I know what Paul's saying. It's not what you would normally expect.
No. But he's doing a really good job of acting in it. He's convincing.
The acting is really good. But as we found out on our interview with him, he finds the whole process of making films or even short films very, very boring. Yeah. So you won't see him. Okay, sorry, we will see him in a film in some form when Better Man comes out. But I don't think he's going to take up his film career anytime soon.
No.
Short, small things, I think.
Matt did say while we were watching it, well, if he finds it boring, then how on earth did he ever film this?
Yeah, well.
Because, it's like a short movie.
Vaughan Arnell had ways of keeping him interested, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was good. I enjoyed watching it back again. And
yeah, it's a linking piece for the videos. It sort of, continues the story through, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's funny watching the dog pee on Bob again. The puppy.
So now on to a special with a very, very good friend of the show and of ours, Dinosh Bennett, who is a backing vocalist for Rob and has been for many years, an incredible singer, an incredible dancer. And we were lucky enough. We were trying to plan this for a long time together, but we were lucky enough to meet up in Ireland, in Dublin, and we spent a lovely time with Dinosh. So let's hear a little bit.
We did always really love Losers when you would come and sing.
Oh, absolutely!
Love
Yes, yes.
Oh,
that was a moment.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
the song was incredible.
Yeah.
The experience was incredible. Because for me, I think it was a moment of acceptance by this like incredible superstar. And I think my journey with Rob has been getting to know him.
Yeah.
I don't have the 25-year history that you guys have. Sarah Jane's been in the band 18 years.
Yeah.
Gaz 27. Yeah. I don't even have that. I don't have that. But so learning this person, this artist, I'm sort of the new kid on the block, but that for me was a moment of acceptance.
Yeah.
From him. It was a moment of trust. Again, and I'm like having these glimpses of like walking into the O2.
Yeah.
My mind was blown. And I know that it's been grander than that. But like for me, I'd never seen anything like that in my life. All the artists that I've worked with. And so, but especially not knowing what his world looks like.
Yeah.
So walking into the O2 was mind blowing.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, to have that. So then I'm like, oh, he's like I gotta bow down, like really. And then, because you have respect for I call him boss, but Rob to me is like almost like a brother as well.
Yeah.
And I love him dearly as a human and have so much respect, but the respect continues to grow as I see what the career was and have these experiences on stage with him. So to get respect back.
Yes.
To be trusted by your boss, that's what you want when you go to work. You want the promotion, you want the pat on the back, you want to know that the work you're doing is valid. You want to know that you have a place there, that they appreciate you there, even though it was early days. So that song was the beginning of that, I think, for me. And just having really honest connection. I mean, there were nights where, and this is probably more on the ballroom, where we'd be like literally looking into each other's eyes and like, I'm like, who's going to laugh first?
Yeah, I can remember that.
Just doing and clowning. And then also having like, okay, this is getting intense. Let's look away. And having, and then like just being in the moment of the song.
Yeah.
I loved it and just never knew what was going to happen. And I think even vocally, I was able to experience something different where you're just like, give me your voice and let me find myself in it. Like, let me support. I don't want to come here and be like, Dinosh the singer and and just try to show off and be, I'm like, what do you need from me as a vocalist?
Yeah.
Some nights I wasn't sure, but like be able to just tune in or just to go or block everything out and listen. It was kind of a cool new experience for me to do that. And I think that's also helped me navigate being on stage with this very spontaneous person.
I was going to say,
who
the
will
dynamic seems to be important.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, when he was deciding he's had enough, he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And you're like, right, we're gonna hold this down the stage. Or when if he needs a breath,
or
if he
unfortunately in Munich when he.
Oh my! Right behind me.
I know.
And I was like, I didn't know. I was like, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And I think Sarah
just
looked.
Keep singing, just keep
I was
singing.
like, la 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 la. I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I looked. I kind of looked, and I was like, no. And I was like, someone has to clean that up, or I'm not leaving the stage. Anyway. Terrifying though.
Oh, I know.
Absolutely.
Terrifying. I was like legit worried. But then your job is to keep it going.
Which you did.
Yeah, so it's helped to just kind of know we have a script, but then this is raw and be prepared for anything. Yeah. Like for instance in Candy where he just starts, he's chucking all that. So we're like, ooh, liberate. He's not saying, okay, let's jump in. You know what I mean? And that's the job with anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a special moment. I hope we can find something like that again soon, but
when we saw the stalls being arranged and we saw you guys walking through, it was
so
just tingles already even before hearing it.
And it's also,
one of those.
It was like kind of nerve wracking. I'm just like, oh. And I've always been very nervous to sing, very nervous. So working with him has also like broken down a lot of that. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not insecurity, but just self-conscious.
Right.
Being
Okay.
self-conscious.
Yeah.
Kind of helped break that some of that down for me.
Yeah.
Because it's him. Like, you don't have time to be shy or not step right. And part of the job, my job, or any musician, is to stand in the state of your artist. Like, be that person, hold it down, be an arm of him, be his arm, be his leg, be his voice. So you can't be he's not a weak, soft person.
No.
He is a lion,
Yes.
you know, so you got to be able to bring that, or whatever he's bringing, you've got to be able to carry that forward.
And another moment was New York.
Oh,
swing tour. That was so good.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about that one. That was really lovely.
It was so special every night.
And I don't know if you guys know the story of how that came about, but I'll quickly tell you. It's really random. Again, another opportunity where you're being trusted and asked to stand in my place and hold it down. And it just started in rehearsal where I actually had just come off tour with Alicia.
Right.
So I'd been singing the song over and over. Obviously the backgrounds, but which were phenomenal. I love doing that number. We did it as the intro to the show, and then we actually did it at the end. We did the whole song. So we were in rehearsals, and guys at the piano, no, not Guy, Dave Hartley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got Dave, and we're just trying to figure it out. So I was just like, so the guy was like, does anybody know this song? And I was like, well, I said, yeah, I know. I mean, I know it anyway, but yeah, I've just come off the road with her, so I can kind of help you navigate. I'm like, what key is it in? And they were trying to figure out a good key for his voice. So anyway, I was just leading the vocal so that we could run the show and we knew what would happen. So he did whatever, he said his spiel, and then he'd do this intro, and then it would go into whatever. So that's all I was doing. I was just, doing my BV stuff. So he comes into rehearsal in the afternoon, and we're running through the show, and we get to this part, and he's like, right. So he's got the idea. He's come up with the idea, but hasn't figured out how to execute it yet. Mm-hmm. So he's just like, all right, what do I do? So guy's like, oh, Dinosh will show you what to do. So I was like, cool. So I'm not going to sing no weak vocal, I mean, like, I got to present it as a legitimate thing. So he feels like it's a legitimate thing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, but it was for him to sing, but I just wanted, melody, so he knew how it would flow. So I sang it, and he's like, right, I'm not going to do that. She's going to do that. Oh. And I was like, what? Wow. He's like, no, you're going to sing it. I was like, and then the next day, guy was like, right, okay, Dinosh. I was like, oh, he was serious.
Oh, wow.
So that's how that's what it was. And then it became me doing the intro, and then it worked really well because then they built he could kind of go change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it was crazy because I would do this song, but I never knew he would go up, and then he was standing up there watching me, and then I think I was just doing that one night and looked up and was like, oh, and then started like anyway, it was a beautiful moment again, as I said, like a moment of trust and. Again, and those opportunities really actually helped me build my confidence on stage because I hadn't been performing solo in a long time, and it's very different when you are singing solo versus singing background. It's not about you when you're in the background, but Robbie always gives us space to be us and to sort of be our own people, and like you said, and like you saw, an opportunity to shine. So I'm glad that it translated.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
For you guys.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, just before we wrap up this episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out. And also, Lucy and I would really appreciate it if you can leave us a star rating. You can do this on both Apple and Spotify podcasts. We would also love it if you could write us a short review, and you can do this on Apple. Don't forget, you can check out our episode notes for each episode and links to all tracks and videos at robbiewilliamsrewind.com. You can also email us at email@robbiewilliamsrewind.com. Please also follow and chat on our social channels. It's at Rewind Robbie on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. And you can also like and follow our Facebook page, Robbie Williams Rewind. And before we return to this episode, you might also consider sending us one of your own Robbie stories for the show. Just record a short audio clip on your phone and email it to us. Please check the website for more details. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Wonderful Dinosh, we love her.
Yeah, that was such a lovely meet-up and a great interview. Just an incredible journey that Dinosh has taken, and very inspirational indeed. So definitely listen back to that one. Really, really good episode.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think we've come to the end of our best of 2-year anniversary episode or
2
birthday.
years, wow. Goodness. We've put a lot of effort into this, haven't we?
We have. What, this episode or the whole podcast?
The whole podcast. I mean, it's calmed now that we've sort of got through all of the albums and all the music sort of episodes, but we've got lots more to do, haven't we, with members of the band. We're talking to a lot of people at the moment about arranging interviews for the future, so stay tuned because there's going to be some really good guests coming up.
Yeah.
As I said, including Rob again himself at some stage.
Yeah.
What else are we up to, Lise?
Well, it won't be long until the Lufthouse album comes out, because today is the 29th of September, if you're listening on release day. And a week today, the 6th of October, the Lufthouse album comes out. So we've already heard 7 of the songs, but there's 10 in total. So there's going to be 3 new songs, one of those being a duet with, or sung by, Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got some new stuff coming.
If you're a particular Lufthouse fan, get in touch, because we'd like to do a Lufthouse episode reviewing the songs and talking all things Lufthouse. So if you have a thing for their music, then get in touch and maybe you can come on that episode with us.
Yeah, definitely let us know. And keep your fingers crossed for October the 30th when we're at the Independent Podcast Awards in the music category.
Yeah. One thing you could do to help, because you can't vote, it's voted for by an independent panel of industry experts, but you could just give us a star rating on Apple or Spotify, because as I said, we're up against some big podcasts.
Star rating or a little 1 or 2 sentence review, doesn't have to be too much, always helps.
Just to show that we do have listeners. We know we do, but just showing it to the outer world that we do and that people enjoy listening.
So that wraps it up for this episode. We hope you've enjoyed listening to a few of our best bits. As we said, there's many, many more. So if you haven't listened to all the episodes, make sure you get back in there and delve in and follow us on all our socials as well. Check out the website, RobbieWilliamsRewind.com. Lots of photos and other bits and pieces on there that you can go and have a look at. Yeah, and
fingers crossed for new music from Robbie soon.
Absolutely. So yeah, we've got things happening. Things are coming. Netflix, Better Man next year. Still touring.
We want music.
We want music. Okay then. Until the next episode.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Robbie Williams Rewind.